Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Javonne Jay and I'm a California native who moved to Bangkok, Thailand to teach English and immerse myself in Thai culture. So today I wanted to talk about something that I see a lot of online discourse about, and these are conversations about expat groups and people that are warning against joining them or talking about how they've recently left these expat groups because they find that they are too toxic. And that seems to be the ongoing narrative, that they're toxic, they're cliquish, or full of drama. Then there's people on the other side of the spectrum that swear by these groups as the best way to make friends abroad, get advice, or just feel less alone while living abroad. So are joining expat groups helpful, or maybe not so much? Let's get into it. So I first joined these Facebook expat groups to do more research about life in Thailand. I wanted to hear perspectives that aren't always covered by influencers or things that you can come across in blogs. A lot of what you hear influencers or read in the blogs, these are highlight reels. And honestly, I think they're a great resource for that. You get to hear about the day-to-day struggles that you just don't generally hear about otherwise. So in that regard, I think they're great. But with everything, there are some things to keep in mind. So there are so many different forums and platforms where people are discussing expat groups, not just on Facebook, but even on forums like Reddit. So I was actually looking through a few conversations, and the subreddits were specific to Thailand and Bangkok. You'll see a lot of critiques about these groups. So for example, one person said, in part, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it was quite lengthy, but they said, try looking at the responses in the Bangkok expats Facebook group. Bitter bastards everywhere. That was in response to somebody asking, does Thailand turn a lot of expats into cynical gatekeepers? Or have they always been like that no matter where they are? I just see a lot of sarcastic, cynical, and gatekeeping when people ask questions on many posts talking about anything really. Another person said, it's full of nastiness. These people are an oracle for everything in the country, and anyone who dares disagree gets ridiculous online abuse. I can't say I disagree with that, to be honest. A lot of times you'll see people in these forums, particularly newcomers to the groups, which, I mean, obviously people come with questions. A lot of times people will ask a question that might get commonly asked in the group. And then I see people complaining like, oh my gosh, you guys are always asking the same questions. Why don't you guys just look it up? And it's just like, okay, it's clear that that person complaining has been in the group much longer, so they're seeing a lot of the same questions rolling in. But there's a way to approach that where you can kindly redirect them and be like, hey, I see you're new to the group. Welcome, first of all. I see you're new to the group. This question comes up often, actually. If you want to check in the search bar and just do a quick search for blah, 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 you should be able to see a bunch of posts, and hopefully you'll be able to find your answer that way. Or just not saying anything at all, because some people do get really aggressive and like to express this annoyance at the fact that people are asking a question that, okay, you've seen it many times, but this person is obviously new to the group, or perhaps just isn't as active in the group and they have a question and didn't think to do that. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I have seen that, so I do kind of agree with what this person's saying. Also, in one of the Black Facebook expat groups that I'm a part of, it is a private group, so I won't be saying the name of the group nor the name of the person. But they did express concern about how people are behaving in these groups, not online, but offline. And I thought it was really poignant, so I want to read it. They said, it's so sad and unfortunate to see what our community in Thailand is becoming. By our community, they mean the Black community. They're saying this space should be about community, not competition. All the petty conversations, people sharing tea, the drama, it's messy. We aren't children. I hope we can do better moving forward. And yeah, honestly, I get it. I do. But when you read these comments, you can start to understand why people are wary of joining expat groups, whether those are online groups or in-person meetups. And online spaces can definitely amp up drama, and it's easy for personality clashes and frustrations about visas and culture shock, or just life abroad in general, that tends to spill over into arguments. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every group is bad. Honestly, you just have to approach them with some level of awareness. For me, Facebook expat groups have been very helpful. I learned things that I wasn't seeing in influencer content. That said, though, I always have to remind myself that what someone posts is simply their perspective. They're showing life through their lens. It's not this universal one-size-fits-all truth. And I've also seen the pettiness firsthand. It's very easy for arguments to start when people are sharing a perspective that others don't agree with, or an experience that differs from theirs. And sometimes I do see older expats that are being judgmental towards newer expats or younger expats for doing things differently than they did. We're all in the same place. Like, let people do them, but a lot of people just really feel the need to act like there's this linear way to do things. There's more than one way to move abroad. There's more than one way to adjust to life abroad and to act like there's this rigid linear system when that doesn't really exist. It's annoying, to say the least, but people are going to do what they're going to do. I don't engage. But I would say overall these online groups are a useful tool. You just have to take what's useful, leave what isn't, and don't get caught up in anybody's drama. All right, now let's talk about in-person meetup. I'm pretty introverted, so I'm not just out here in these streets meeting up with people left and right. That's actually extremely, incredibly draining for me. But when I do feel that need for connection, of course, I do lean on my community. So for me, these meetups are a form of reconnection while I'm living abroad. I'm not around my culture. I am in a mostly homogenous society. So when I go to a meetup, it's nice to be around people that just get it, having that cultural bond and not feeling this pressure to code switch or to have to explain cultural references. It just feels like you can just let your guard down and just be yourself. So overall, my experience in these environments have been positive with these meetups. People are generally open and friendly and, just wanting to have a good time, which is great. That said, though, sometimes I do encounter what I would categorize as cliquish behavior. So what I notice a lot in the Black expat meetups that I go to, I do notice people that are from the same country or from the same region or state, they tend to hang out with each other. It'll be a room of like 100 of us. And I notice like all the South Africans are hanging out with each other. All the Black British people are hanging out with each other, the Black Americans. And then within the Black Americans, it's the California folks hanging out with each other, the Texas folks are together. And I get it, because usually when you first meet somebody, especially in an environment like that, it's, hey, where are you from? And they tell you where they're from. Oh my gosh, I'm from there too. It is exciting, especially you're so far away from home. Of course, it's going to be exciting if you meet somebody that's from the same city or state or country that you're from. You know what I mean? Of course, that's exciting to have that bond. But like I said, I do notice sometimes those people will just gravitate towards each other and only hang out with each other and don't really want to mingle within the group. That's just something that I noticed. Being more introverted, you just peep things. I'm not like a spy or something, but you do peep things that other people might not pick up on. But I do notice that. And sometimes people are straight up closed off and don't want to, like, they hear my accent and they're just like, yeah, nice to meet you. And then they're just kind of like talking amongst each other. And at that point, I mean, I know how to read a room. So, if I'm being met with that kind of energy, obviously I'm going to remove myself and just, talk to some other people. There's always so many people to talk to. So I don't take it personally. I just figure, okay, you're here on a different mission than I am. That's fine. I think if you go to these meetups with that mindset of, hey, I'm just here to have fun. There's no pressure. Whatever happens, happens. I'm not here to be, judgy. You'll be fine. You'll honestly be fine. It either works or it doesn't. We're not in high school. We're not kids. It's not that detrimental. So one common criticism that I hear, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, is that the problem with expat communities is that they aren't integrating with the local culture. They stick with other foreigners and they're missing out on local experiences. And yeah, I do notice that. I think that a lot of expats are just comfortable being around other expats. It's a shared experience. For me, I think it's only problematic if it's coming from a place of like elitism or superiority or just having this insularity mindset. Because honestly, that's a huge problem, because why are you here? Honestly, for me, I think the key is balance. You can use expat spaces for community while also intentionally engaging with Thailand and Thai people. It's not like you have to choose one over the other. And, if you do come here and you do decide, hey, you know what? I don't want to hang out with other expats. I just want to hang out with the locals. That's completely fine. You're entitled to have the experience that you want to have, but don't think that you're better than another expat because you don't go to expat meetups. That's not fair. I don't feel like one expat is better than the other because of how they're navigating it. The only time I personally will look down on another expat is if you come here acting entitled and like how things are done from your country is the right way to do things, and you're just here because it's cheaper than where you're from. So that's personally when I lose respect for you, because it's like, you're here to exploit, you're not here to explore. And that's a problem. All right, I'm losing light, so I'm trying to wrap this up. So just really quickly, I'll just get into some alternatives or recommendations. If maybe you're just sworn off of them, maybe you've just heard one too many horror stories, or maybe you yourself are an expat and you're just like, nah, done with the groups. Seen the worst, 0 out of 10, don't recommend. So yeah, let me give you some alternatives. There's an app that's literally called Meetup. I'm pretty sure it's global, so you can set it to whatever city around the world. It'll have different categories that you share that you're interested in. So whether it's the arts, comedy, sports, you just list those things, or it'll give you a list of groups in your area and you can join the group. Eventbrite's also a good place. It tells you about different events in the area that you're in. Of course, in being in those environments, you're going to meet other like-minded people. They're interested in the same activity as you. More activity-based groups versus identity-based groups. That definitely helps. So the Meetup app and Eventbrite, I think, are two really good resources. Also, if you're a remote worker or if you just like to utilize co-working spaces, that's a great place to meet people too. You might meet somebody that you really vibe with there, and who knows where that can go, who knows what that can become. And neighborhood events. A lot of times when I'm on Instagram, you know how they've got the cookies on or whatever, they're tracking everything that you're doing. So a lot of times when I'm scrolling, I'll see a sponsored post about an event that's happening at a local cafe. Pay attention to like what's popping up on your For You page, and like when you're scrolling on Instagram, check and see what sponsored posts are coming up that are local to the area that you're staying in. That could be a way to meet people too. So my recommendation is to use expat tools as a tool in your toolbox, but you don't necessarily have to make it your one-stop shop, your one-size-fits-all situation. Sometimes you want to be around expats, sometimes you want to be around locals, sometimes you want to be by your damn self because you're an introvert. So yeah, it's definitely an option, and I wouldn't villainize it. I think there's good and bad in just about everything in this world. So what does it hurt to just try it? But again, people are going to do what they're going to do. I personally am not at a point in my journey where I'm ready to write them off completely. Like I said, I peep energy, I can read a room, and I just move accordingly. If this cluster of people over here aren't with me, that's fine. I'll go over to this group of people over here that do. That's completely fine. There is a group setting, activity, whatever, for everyone, for every hobby, every interest. So I say it doesn't hurt to give it a try. It might sound ambiguous, but such is life. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like this content and you'd like to see more, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!